session of the day is United in Voice, a forum for South Indian language publishers. I would like to invite Ravi, DeeCee, influential voice in regional publishing, Mr. Kannan Sundaram, literary powerhouse and torchbearer of Tamil publishing, and Mr. Mohan Babu, veteran champion of multilingual publishing in South.
This is a session we are going to explore. First time talking about the collective representation of South Indian languages for going for any other rights or maybe translating among our four languages. Till today, all the publications individually, because DeeCee Ravi is stalwart in his Malayalam, and Kannan is the king of his publication in his own way. But as far as Telugu is concerned, we are slowly coming up. Earlier, particularly left-dominated publications are used to have all the rights and they have a final say. Today, the domination is over, and both that left party related Vishalandhra or maybe that now Telangana, Prajashakti are no more dominating way, and they are only restricted to their own limited left-wing publications, exclusive left-wing publications. So, new players are coming, like Chaya, like maybe Anvishki, like maybe that Aju publications. All these new publications are coming. A lot of self-publication things are coming. So, Telugu, when compared to the Tamil and Malayalam, even for the Kannada representation not yet come now. So, compared to these other languages, individually you are working. I think a lot of translations are happening from Malayalam to Tamil, Tamil to Malayalam and other languages. So now the Book Brahma's poem wants us to explore, is there any possibility to combinedly, collectively, can we go for a bargaining with other languages? Collectively, can we explore the possibility of the doing collectively? What exactly collectively means? When bargaining for the rights, when transferring the books and all these things, good books, how to get the support from the institutions which are supporting the literary things. I think probably that is the idea of this thing. Moderator, when you are talking about the thing, they are not specifically try to explore the possibility. You all sit together and try to work out. That's what he requested us to work out. So now I requested Kannan. Is there, sir, how we can take it forward, this kind of thing? What exactly we can do for a collective this thing, please?
So, to a very large extent, the international publishing is very much based on a profitable business model. So, when that is the situation, there may be two advantages when you present a collective bargain to publishers for rights. One is they will immediately get more interested because it's a bigger deal. The total amount put together will become a big deal. Individually converted from Indian currency to euros or dollars, it will still remain a very relatively small money. That is one thing. And then there is always this interest in taking a work to many languages, newer languages. So the main business will be on the top languages of the world: Arabic, Spanish, Japanese, Korean, German. And then there are these many languages which, informally we are categorized under weird languages. So when you're talking about weird languages, if you can come together as many weird languages, then we can offer a better bargain to the publishers. So there is different advantage there. And another thing is that, beyond a certain amount of money is not involved, you will not even get a response from many professional publishers. Literary publishers may, take a little more interest, but otherwise, many publishers will not respond if you go with a very small deal. So individually, from my experience, for one book, we have tried coming together with 3 or 4 publishers and making a bargain, and it has worked to a certain extent, but it has not continued. It has not continued as a formal forum where we can come together. But there's a plus and minus there. When you come together as a forum and when you make a collective offer, then every individual language publisher of that forum should complete the project professionally. Even if one of them falters, the questions will keep coming for the other publishers. We'll all become collectively responsible for the completion of the whole deal and not just our part of the deal. So if, proven, competent professional publishers can come together and agree on certain books, not all the books, on the books they agree on, if we can bargain together, we will get a better deal and we'll be at advantage when we make an offer. So that's what I can tell from my little experience in this matter.
Yeah, same thing. I request Maria, Ravi also share that thought process because before going to the next question.
Thank you. And first and foremost, what I believe is actually this is a unique kind of literature festival, Book Brahma. The biggest advantage is actually all the South Indian languages, the Dravidian languages particularly, are coming together as a consortium, as a forum. And actually that's been discussed. And there's no better place than Bangalore for that actually, because 35% of the population now in Bangalore alone, if it's Kannadigas, another 15-20% is Telugu, and then again 15% of Tamilians and 8% of Malayalis here. So I mean, other than the other people from other parts of India. So I mean, Bangalore, and probably the next best is Chennai for actually a Dravidian language lit fest like this. And one thing I can guarantee with these kind of literature festivals are, I mean, for that matter, any literature festival, that's going to improve upon the publishing and the reading. I mean, for sure, Telugu and Kannada, I mean, especially in Bangalore, both these are the two most important languages actually. Telugu and Kannada actually will flourish because of that. Actually, more and more Telugu speaking people or more and more Kannada speaking people will get into the reading, starting from the children's reading in Kannada or Telugu to all the other languages. So I mean, so these forums are the best actually. These were probably the unified structure of having a language collegium. Second is actually, as Kannan said, the translations. If we have a forum or a collegium for at least like a repository where a collective bargaining can happen. So somebody take the initiative from these 4 languages, or some forum takes the initiative and have this book actually circulated. I mean, this book is going to come out in Tamil or Malayalam, and others can also pitch into that if you want somebody from Kannada or Telugu or Malayalam. So like Kannan said, I mean, like probably the first, the minimum has to be $500 to $1,000 or $2,000. And in some cases, we have had like $7,000 for getting a book actually, rights for a book, actually best-selling book in the globally a best-selling book. So that if I am paying a 7,000, combined all 4 languages can probably you get it for $7,000 or $8,000, and whoever sells the maximum number of copies can probably pitch in up proportionally actually. So this is a forum, and most cases it's a $500 or $1,000 actually. The economies of scale will be another $500 extra. You get 4 languages. So rather than one publisher venturing into all 4 languages, the 4 publishers can be a collective or the collective South Indian languages. It makes all the difference actually. And translations has driven the Malayalam language. I mean, probably Malayalam as a language, one of the reasons it nourished is because we still have the maximum number of translations happening into our language. Whereas Bangla has always been giving, but they were not accepting. So a good publishing program or a reading community should have a lot of translations happening from within India, from abroad. So this also is definitely a forum for that. So that's what my second point. And third point will be, third is actually, I mean, I would say, I mean, one thing, while Malayalam is one of the most active in South India, I would say the kind of investment any government is making into culture, publishing, or otherwise, it's Tamil. The TNTB and the other forums, actually, International Book Fair happening in Tamil Nadu, what they do is actually, they literally pay you to get some of the best books from Tamil to any language in India and even abroad. So if a collegium happens or a consortium happens, actually, where all these 4 governments or 5 government states, if they can get together and build a collegium, consortium, and move around by giving and taking translations and funding. So maybe Kerala government may have to put in 1 crore of rupees, which is nothing. And Tamil Nadu is putting in probably much more than that. I mean, 10 times the amount. And Telangana or Andhra Pradesh or Karnataka wouldn't have any issue for that kind of money. Actually, if that happens, actually, one of the governments, probably Tamil Nadu Chief Minister could be the best person because he is investing a lot into the culture. To take it, I'm sure the other chief ministers or other secretaries, IAS secretaries will say yes to it. So that's one way we can do this kind of, at least moving around in the South Indian languages, which will definitely flourish for the language, for the literature, and definitely for the reader. I mean, this is nothing to do with the reading, but once I was in Luxembourg. Luxembourg has a building, which I've told this story earlier, I've been in one of the meetings. Luxembourg has one huge building, and that has 5,000 translators sitting for government and ordinary translations of the culture and other things. Not meant for books, actually, but for translating a lot of cultural, cross-cultural issues and all. They were tackling the cross-cultural issues by having these 5,000 translators. Not only they're doing the government translations, but cross-cultural issues as well. So what happens with that is actually within the European languages, it gets onto a mode on a regular basis. We don't need that many people. We may need only about 50 or 100 people, even if it's required. And the best thing with that is actually, I mean, there are a lot of languages, dying languages in Spain and all, or which has been revived over the years, Catalan and all. So these languages also revived in the last 25 years. In Spain, actually, one whole region, the language got revived, and now that's a language they teach medical education, and the literature like Joseph Pla and all from Catalina, it's very popular across, actually, which was a dying language, they revived in 25 years. So I think this is a minimum thing we should do, actually, at least within the South Indian languages too. I mean, because the culture is literally, I mean, there are a lot of similarities which we can relate also. I mean, that's what I believe in.
Yeah, Ravi, it's very interesting to know both Mr. Kannan and Ravi saying that, yes, there should be a united platform to work out a commonly, get the rights and to bargain with the foreign publishers or maybe the writers and but the problem is that when Raviji is telling that involving a government may be very difficult for us, this thing, because I don't know, because both Tamil Nadu and this Kerala, their governments are very progressive and they know what is the literature. So coming to when coming to the Andhra Pradesh and Telangana means I had to first educate my chief ministers regarding the literature. There is a book on all these things. So the practical problem will come in the united forms. Because of these kind of things, tomorrow it may be stumble because say the Kerala, Mr. Ravi says I got a funding from the government, and maybe Kannanji also says we also got the thing what you are doing, you have to talk to them. Because unless it happens, this is going to be a thing. Other than that, can we work out any other model is involving the government and other than governments? And I request Kannanji also let me know that, because he's already dealing with the 22 countries translations, if I know that. So he's having a more experience without dealing with the government. So the government is coming forward, nothing like that. We will also represent our governments and all these things. If they are not coming, can we try to work out better way with the foreign translated institutions?
If I think of, are there any models that we can, think of? I don't know of any such, existing models from where we can learn this. But this is our situation. We are a multilingual society. In South India itself, we are 4 or 5 powerful languages. So can we do something that is new, that is suitable for our needs? I think it is possible. It's not a very unthinkable thing. That what I would suggest is not necessarily individual publishers. So a particular book comes, and from every language, many publishers who are involved in translation can be members of that forum. And who's interested in this book? Can you make an offer? And then that forum itself can pitch, an offer, get it, and they can, for a forum to run, then money is needed, so they can probably charge a commission, and then act like a agency, maybe on a non-profit basis for the good of the languages. So we can, think on these lines, and can be. So it will not go to necessarily only a specific publisher, but I may not be interested in a book, and somebody else may be interested. For that book, they can make their offer, and any 4 or 5 publishers come together from different languages, then the offer can be sent to the. This makes it easier because there are practical difficulties for many people to establish the contact. Very often, you may not get a response immediately. You may be emailing the wrong contact, and they will not direct you to the. Sometimes they will, sometimes they may not do that. So to establish the right contact and to make an offer, and make an offer that is that is respected, that is acknowledged, that okay, this is a known forum and they have made an offer, this is a serious offer, let us respond to it. So a new publisher coming in may face these difficulties. I have faced these difficulties, 10, 15 years ago, that many of my mails will not evoke a response because they don't know me, they don't know my language, they don't know what I'm offering clearly. I may not be able to present the offer in the correct way at that time. So, and then later on, but all these problems can, to a certain extent, be solved if a forum makes an offer on behalf of 4 or 5 languages. I think then it will definitely make people sit up and take it seriously and give a proper response. So we can think of setting something up like that. I think it is a workable and a possible solution to the problem. Thank you.
Yeah, same question. Raviji also can explain the thing, because he's a united thing. He's not asking questions and we are exchanging the ideas here. It's not, I'm asking some question, they are asking the thing. As experts, as a upcoming this thing, we are also involved, try to work out the thing.
One thing with we call ourselves the independent publishers, all of us. So if there is an independent publishers exchange which happens, so what Kannan has said can be validated through that, where the rights becomes an easy thing, and basically any translated work, the thing you need is actually to market it. So I don't think there will be a big fight over a book actually, but the people who loves particular book, they will take that book actually. It's not all based on the bestsellers. I don't think Kannan takes the books based on bestsellers actually. What suits in literature is what he probably picks the books. So it works definitely pretty good actually. And one thing I must say is about the languages, when you say about the southern languages, glad that one word is not used actually, which I keep on doing as a mercenary in most of my meeting. Don't call it a regional language actually. There is no regional language in earlier session. Yeah, that's the biggest disadvantage we have been positioning ourselves. I'll tell you, it's a part of an agenda where Hindi is the language and the other languages are actually a part of. I'm sorry, I'm saying this actually. Other languages are only, regional languages. It's not true. If you look at, Malayalam as a language, it's spoken by only 2% of the population, where Hindi is about 50. But Malayalam reading is 10x than Hindi population. The publishing is probably the 2nd or 3rd largest in the country. And Hindi probably comes at 5th. I'm nothing against Hindi. It's good to learn another language, but don't impose upon anything. So none of us are a regional language. So the moment we say we are Indian language, that's about it actually. So these terminology of regional language has to get out of our system first before we tell, because whenever the circulars comes from Delhi and other places on certain statutory things, Hindi and regional languages, for God's sake, it's not. the constitution gives us the same privilege as Hindi for any language in India, So, I mean, that's where we ended up cornering ourselves actually getting into this thing. And look at the languages. I mean, like he was talking about, Telugu slowly getting into the system with one book doing almost 2 lakhs or 3 lakh copies. I think Shweta will be able to answer that. I think he was mentioning about Aju publications actually. So, I mean, like an average of 500 copies or 300 copies, a book has gone to how many numbers?
2 lakhs.
2 lakh copies actually. And plus the pirated copies, another 1 lakh. So it's 3 lakh copies.
Total reading is 5 lakhs.
Yeah, 5 lakhs. So, I mean, these are things happening. And look at Banu Mustaq's book actually. I mean, it's sold in English 1,20,000 copies so far. So, I mean, all this, the best of the literature comes from these Indian languages where the cultural ethos are strong. There is a strong urge for writing. So, I mean, I can tell you one example. I mean, long back, I think in 1997 or something, when Arundhati Roy was preparing for a show with Larry King live in CNN. So, Larry King decided to have Salman Rushdie instead of him to interview Arundhati Roy. So that's a time when Elizabeth West and Salman Rushdie has done a book together on the Indian writing. And Salman Rushdie went on saying about how great the Indian writing in English is. So that she said, I mean, because I wrote in English, I mean, that's become a hit, and I'm happy about it. But people like O.V. Vijayan in Malayalam are far more, in terms of literature, they're far more in a different plane or strata actually at that time. That's the answer she gave, and Salman Rushdie was appreciating about her book actually. So, I mean, the good writing, I mean, like, I don't know why O.V. Vijayan has never got a Nobel Prize or a Booker Prize. I mean, that's something we need to explore actually. But I'm telling you, there are far more superior writing or good writing happening in all languages. I mean, it's not in one language alone.
Yeah, this is very important part. The need to have a collective discussion, maybe collective this thing is to counter the imposition of some way or another thing. Authoritarianism, we have to compare this thing. That's what I feel at Kannanji. Yes, necessarily it's a high time for us to collectively try to do something. But at the same time, when we are trying to work out this kind of collective things, this one question I have, doubt I have is when you are bargaining, talking to the international publishers, maybe rights holders, do they say because 4 languages you have this many people and all these things, rights will be this thing? Maybe you both are knowing that this kind of thing, how it is going to respond this foreign.
So before I answer the question, I have a theory that a book, a publisher, and a language really arrive on the scene only when a book is pirated. So I want to congratulate Telugu and Aju publications that they have already achieved this. I had to wait quite many years before one of my book was pirated. Perumal Murugan's Madhur Bhaga. You have done it very soon. So congratulations. So when you see what is already happening is it's not that we don't already exchange ideas. Let me give you an example. The last book, Frankfurt Book Fair, a book called The Book Census Library. It's a translation from Arabic. That book was presented to me. So I got a copy. I immediately liked the story very much. So I said, can I pick up this copy at the end of the fair? They said, okay. I picked up the copy. I brought it and I was reading it. When this was happening, I get a message from Anil of Chaya saying, sir, we have come across this great book. Why don't you take a look at it? So I told him, yeah, I'm already taking a look at it. So they bought the Telugu rights. I bought the Tamil rights. Then when I met, Ravi, I told him this is a great book. And now he has bought the Malayalam rights. And I've been telling my Kannada publishing friends also, So this is happening, but it is happening in an informal way. We make the introductions to publisher and, and then they maybe individually bargain. And they see what the next publisher is giving and they will make a similar offer and take the rights. But collectively, when you do together, this becomes much more easier. We can probably bargain for a smaller amount. But, I have to tell you that when I make offers internationally, my biggest headache is DeeCee books, Malayalam. Because they sell 500,000 copies, 200,000 copies, and they make offer accordingly. And they see the map, they see the population. Your population is more. You are next to Kerala. Therefore, your selling will be more. So please give us $2,500 advance for this book. And I have to literally, I don't know how to explain this. I mean, I can understand fully that anybody will make this assumption. But then I have to involve my friends, the people who know about India, make recommendation, finally convince them these are two different markets. I can actually print only 1,000 copies, even though the book.
Kannan, I just want to add something to it.
Yeah.
When I write to these agents, I said that we are a small state in the southernmost corner, and our population is the smallest. That's how I start writing.
I know. So this consortium idea will very much work to his advantage. But anyway, I think we should still do it.
You have to face this, but let us see that. Okay, if at all it is not working, you may have to work out how best we can try to in our advantage. Okay, these people are differentiating. This state is going to have a larger publishing copies, and this state is not having, and all these things. We may not be in a position to tell them, but let us try our best. That's what I feel. That thing. What do you say, Mr. Ravi? Because it's end of the day, how you are the leader, you are. As far as the publishing copies are concerned, how you are going to address this kind?
No, the copies actually, I mean, it has probably the advantage is actually of different renaissance movements happened over the years actually in Kerala. I mean, that's what we are blessed with that. I mean, it's not that actually, it's not the population buying it. Because we had a strong library movement as early as 1930s and by 1945. There was a united library movement where about 7,000 library representatives met in 1945 in a place in Alleppey. And that's when the whole library movement started. So this was already nurtured by, I would say, the missionaries who came to propagate Christianity. They ended up, that's a funny thing is actually there's a person called Benjamin Bailey. So who is known as the father of Malayalam printing. He ended up promoting printing and publishing rather than Christianity. And Herman Gundert, who is the grandfather of Herman Hesse, the Nobel Prize winner. So he started doing Malayalam grammar, proverbs, dictionary and all. So the whole contribution from there to the later on to the rulers and then the government, the first government in Kerala. The biggest advantage in 1947, after 47, was actually 50% of the Kerala budget was earmarked for education. The other 50 went for everything else combined. But most of the states were putting about 5 or 8 or 10%. So 50% of the budget was actually earmarked for that. Again, abolishing of tax for books. If you look at it, there's no tax for books in India. Now it's a disadvantage. But having said that, it also initiated from there, actually. The Kerala ministry relaxed on the taxation, which prompted Nehru to abolish tax for books in India. So, there are a lot of good things towards reading happen. So, that is the advantage.
One second, I have to. Yeah, this one way I can suggest you one thing that both Mr. Kannan and Ravi. Depending on the number of copies what we are selling of the thing, maybe that will be a benchmark we can bargain with the thing. Who are crossing 1,000 may have to pay extra, something like that, we can bargain. So that is the ideal thing, what you feel that, instead of this thing?
So yeah, I think, for literary fiction, when you're buying a new book, the initial figures may not be very different. Unless, my feeling is that if a book is already very reputed on the Indian level or international level, then the impact of that international Indian level reputation is deeper in Kerala than probably it is in Tamil Nadu and other South Indian languages. But when you are making let us say, an offer for a book like a book census library, it is a new author, new book. We are trying it out. In that point, I think we'll probably all be doing more or less similar print runs, and we can make a similar offer. So going on a case by case basis. I remember that so many years ago that many of publishers got together and made a collective offer for Taslima, sorry, what's the Pakistan?
Pakistani?
Yeah, sorry, I'm finding the name of the book. So we made offer about the book and we all got it. And then we independently renewed the contracts after the book sold. But it was, easier to impress the big agency with a collective offer at that point, and it worked. So I think I'm positively inclined for such an idea. It has to be professionally done, and it must be done with the mutual understanding. And we need more than one publisher from every language to make it really work.
I think some modalities can be worked out. It's basically, it is not the thing what we are discussing or making a panel discussion. What more things what we are interested is to how can collectively all these language publishers can come and collectively bargain the thing. And now that, here, this very important part what I want to know is, so we are all individual publishers who would like to do, because right now already we have taken a rights for 20 books and all these things, maybe 2 years we are going to have that down the line we have to publish. So now the point is individually you are trying to work out, but we have individually we have our own interests and all these things. Can we put some collectively some moderate agency like Book Brahma or somebody else as a lead, take the thing and all these things? Is it possible for us to work out that way? You start with the thing. Yeah. Ravi ji, you have to tell that thing.
I believe a professional agency like for example, Kannan knows, I forgot the name of it. Frankfurt Book Messe is organized by Frankfurt German Publishers Association. So German Publishers Association has gone as a organization which is a professional body. So if there is a professional body happening as a collective effort, then it could get into the matchmaking process. So this is what we'll probably have to look at it. I think otherwise it's not easy to do that.
Yeah. Actually. I think you have the same opinion.
Yeah. So what was the question?
Yeah. See, individually we are all publishers. Yeah. So clash of interest should not come so that any other professional body we can go ahead with talking to them.
Yeah. So I'm saying that, when we'll have to fine tune modality, let's say 2 or 3 publishers from any language is interested. Then how do we make a choice?
Exactly.
So all those things have to be worked out, but I think that will happen only through experience. Okay. And when the question comes up, we will find the answer for the question. But initially we can start by, starting something and see how it goes.
Right. Now you can question on us what are the things. Anybody can ask the questions.
This was such a paradigm shift from the previous session. See, what I was thinking, all of you were talking about something which was way beyond what the previous session discussed, because they were talking with the tone of us and them between North and South. So why are you talking about foreign buying rights and all that? So why can't you formulate one group to translate South Indian books into English for the international market? All of you were talking about getting rights from foreign books. So why can't you take South Indian books to Frankfurt and sell them for international market? Because when I asked them that it is so difficult for us to reach to the North Indian publishing houses, that if you talk of one heart lamb and you forget the 999 rejections that you have given us.
You need more Kannans to do that. Kannan is doing it on a daily basis.
The second point, after this I will not talk. The second point I want to say that involving government is a gone thing. You cannot even see the library books for past 5 years they have not bought. So the publishers are all, holding on to their books, and they are really suffering losses for the past 5 years. And the government has not given the subsidies for the academies also. So, which is a very peanut for them. And if you want to involve government and think that the government can give you a couple of crores, it will not work in Karnataka at least.
See, regarding taking South Indian language books or any Indian language books to internationally, I think Ravi will agree with me, but let me make it very clear. It is not going to happen through Indian English publishing. So that door you can clearly close down. I always tell all my writers, my published friends, everybody, do not give world English rights to Indian English publishers. It is not because I have any, specific enmity towards them. They are all my friends. It is that they do not promote the works beyond India. Nobody travels to Frankfurt. Nobody comes to London Book Fair to promote our books to international publishers. It's only on the contract. When the offer comes, they will sign the contract if it comes to their table. They are not going to take a step forward to take it to international publishers. So I think every language publisher has to do that. Take their own writers, put on the catalog, come to Frankfurt or London Book Fair and pitch the books. It is not going to be easy. Nobody is crying for Indian language books anywhere in the world. But we'll have to make the push. We'll have to take it to the door. And that is something that has to be done with two things. One, very important business angle, and the very important angle of passion for the language. And the second aspect you cannot expect from an Indian English publisher. Internationally, they don't need passion. They can do it only professionally because the language is powerful. Literature is already established. A French publisher does not need passion to promote his works. He just has to do his business and do it efficiently, publish the right books, find the right writers. It will happen. And it is not that for us. So I don't think, at least at this stage, any Indian language publishing can even be published or promoted with a certain something more than business, more than a business angle. A little more than that, a certain passion for language, a certain passion for literature, and certain passion that, our language writing should always also be read around across the world. Why not? Don't we deserve that? So that kind of push has to come from us. So I think we should stop asking this question to Indian language publishers. Nobody is going to do it. Not any publisher today.
I have to add, madam, that whatever you asked, we are already doing the exchanging our languages, because already we are getting 2 books into Telugu and 2 books into Kannada this year itself. Then we are meeting like this. Just now we finished that he is going to give the 2 books to me, and I have to talk to the Malayalam. We have very difficulty to having a translator. Still we are talking to them to get the books, because this is already happening. And this is also collectively happening, this, because we are also translating your, but as far as Kannan is concerned, it's not going to happen overnight. It may take a lot of time. Maybe we have to go beyond Indian publication. That's what precisely.
Hello, 3 of you, my good friends sitting on the stage. I have a question later on, but for now, I believe that the rights of the Indian authors and translators in Indian languages, as publishers, we are not championing them enough. There are no standardized practices in how we pay our authors and what are the standardized rates and how purchasing the rights across the languages within India. Do you think we as publishers should be championing that? What's your take on that?
I personally believe that, there's International Publishers Association has a format for contract. So the initial thing itself is actually, if the contract can be to a great extent standardized, where Kannan has mentioned that the rights, when you give the rights for English, is you retain the rights for other reasons. The other reason itself is actually to promote it outside or within India. So I think the contract should be somewhat uniform with certain tailor-made aspects actually. So that could be a first step actually for a unified thing. Second is, I've seen in the Indian languages lot of powerful companies from abroad or within India going to the authors directly and saying that give me your audio rights, give me your ebook rights. So somewhere we are at a disadvantage because we don't negotiate properly, where the rights rest with probably with the author, and which is perfectly fine. It's as far as all this is concerned. But why can't, when you are taking all the effort for a book, why can't you have the rights? Second is actually, without respecting these rights, some of these publishers from English or otherwise intrude into our thing and asking the authors to get the rights directly, and we at times we let it go actually because we don't want to have the author on the wrong side. So I'll tell you one thing. These are areas actually, but you should also be fair to the author in all aspects, the royalties and all. I'll tell you one example. I won't tell you the publisher or I won't tell you the author. In one case, an author went directly to a publisher, and when we usually negotiate for at least about 10 to 11%, including the translation, or 8% for the book and then separate for the translator. So this publisher combined both into one and said 7%. Author couldn't understand and agreed for 7%, along with the translator. Then the next clause comes is actually this after the trade discount. So earlier book, we have got him 10% or 9% because the book did pretty well. So the next book, what he ended up getting was actually 1.75% of royalty of the cover price, because it's a trade discount. For an 8% or 7% becomes 3.75%, and that divided between both these two people, 1.75 to 2% actually. Literally, there is no incentive to publish into an English or other language. Actually, these are areas actually there should be. I mean, some kind of learning and awareness has to happen. I mean, it's not to deprive any of the authors of any benefit, but publishers should be collective to negotiate for the authors. And I had another experience actually with another English publisher long back, about 10, 15 years back. And the authors came against me when I started negotiating for them. The publisher went directly to the authors and said that your book is getting published into English. And I told this, I mean, fine, if you want to give it directly, you can, but ask for some advance. So the publisher sent a note saying that, I mean, we are doing a favor, there's no advance to be given to you. I said, at least give about 25,000 or 15. Don't give it to me, give it to the author directly. So, but the authors, 3 or 4 authors directly agreed to that because they wanted the book to be in English. But ultimately, when they make 95% of the royalty from Malayalam, they won't even make 3% of the royalty from English. But it's quite sad that, I mean, those kind of negotiations, finally the author ends up in, big loss, though the book comes out. And another version I can say, for you, it's applicable. For me, it's applicable. Whether it's Indian publisher or English, whatever it is actually. Maybe some of these agreements as perpetual rights means it's for throughout the life and after 60 years. I personally believe that we should not get rights like that. I mean, be it a Malayalam publisher or a Telugu or for English. I mean, authors should also given the leverage of actually having the space. And how you maintain your author is by author relationship, not by a forceful agreement actually.
So, want to add something?
Good evening, sir. I plan to kind of publish my collection of poems in Tamil. I have about, say, 35 to 50 of them. And it may run up to 100, 125 pages kind of a thing. That's my estimation. But I have no idea as to how to go about doing it right from the start. So could you please advise me that what do I do for this?
And I request you to approach individual publishers, because this form is not intended for that thing.
Oh, okay.
Any more questions?
Hi, thank you for the insightful session. Help me understand a little bit behind the scenes when it comes to publishing and especially the international rights and everything. My question is to any one of you who would like to take that. So as I heard Mr. Ravi talk about the author finally receiving 1.75% of the book, I understand in short term, it's a transaction. Somebody is making money, somebody is losing it, all of that. In the long term, is nobody concerned about working with this writer again? Is there a trust which is at play? I mean, when we talk about bargain, I'm like that person who read Never Split the Difference and thought like negotiations need to be done in a way that it's a win-win situation for both. So when it comes to publishing, when it comes to authors, when it comes to like whatever, awareness, educating them, all of that, where is the trust at play? Are these publishers looking to work with this author again? Is there a repeat business that's going to happen?
Is a continuous question to answer.
I would say, I mean, like, like a lot of publishers, I mean, I don't want to, specific to be any kind of language publishing, be it English or other languages. They work bit like a whether they're multinational or not, they work like a multinational where today's negotiations for today and tomorrow I can probably, when it's required, I can probably absolutely. I mean, that's the right word. It's a faceless transaction which is happening. So I mean, the kind of money you make from books is not too great in many cases. Actually, there at least it has to be a win-win situation. That's what I would say. So it's a faceless transaction. Always say things that, I mean, I can go in tomorrow and as and when it's needed, I can negotiate further. That's what I mean. Like, today is 1.75. Tomorrow I'll give 10%. There's an earlier book of the same person was 10%. I got the other 10%. It's simple as, and on the MRP.
So do you think we also need that system to come into South Indian publishing?
See, the Tamil Nadu government has tried to create some agents to promote the writers internationally. They trained their own agents and then got them engaged with some writers who were not represented and tried to promote them, which is still going on. The project is still going on. In Indian languages, most publishers do not represent their writers beyond their language. They publish in their language and they end their story there. They don't take their rights to other languages. They don't make a contract for that. And it's not part of their business design. So how do these writers get represented? So an agent is the option. They can go to an agent and get represented, at least for other languages, if not for their own language publishers. So it is a possible thing. But thing is that my feeling is that the overall size of that economy, it's not big enough to sustain agents, economically. So I think we still need to wait. It is happening in India in English because that market is big enough. The monies are big enough. There are corporates involved. But for the other Indian languages, I don't see it happening. Maybe because we are not ready yet. When the time comes, I think it will happen.
See, the English publishing agents, they have become stars. And it is very difficult to even reach them. People don't even share phone numbers.
Sir, thank you. I was late, I'm sorry, but thank you. The point is there is an aversion towards poetry publications. I don't know why these publishers don't even welcome, like they promote only cricket in India as if we don't know football or hockey. When are we getting into, or how is the market for English poetry, at least Indian English poetry or short stories?
So none of us here are Indian English publishers.
Very good.
So
no, all the more
what I can say is that in the Indian languages, that is not the
You'll have a better perspective when you are not.
In the Indian languages, that is not the right situation. All the important poets get published. All major publishers publish poetry as part of their publishing list. But in English, it is largely true that they don't get published easily. And there are small publishers for poetry. But that is not the case with many Indian languages. In Tamil, I can definitely say that most literary publishers, they have a different poetry list as part of their list. I'm sure that's the case with Malayalam and Kannada and Telugu. So maybe English may be a different situation. It is a different situation because they are not able to sell poetry in the minimum numbers required for them, which is 2,000 or 3,000 copies. But we are happy with small numbers. We still do poetry because poetry must also be done.
Same this thing, whatever Kannanji said is, hardly you can sell 150 to 200 copies any poetry book. So it's not that we are not going to ever stay in the poetry, because more or less a lot of people are poetry interested. But while coming to the buying, they may not be that much interested. So we are selecting. It's not that way, because a lot of efforts are to put in the thing. See, we are end of the day, you have to make business, you have to make money. Without that, publishing will not go. So end of the day, we take all these things into consideration to publishing this thing.
No, but if you look at it in a different perspective, poetry is one of the most heard genres actually, or the category in the entire publishing, though it's not published as a printed book. What I'm saying is actually, with the reconfiguration of the entire content business, it's print, it's it's audio. So audio's biggest market, I would say, in the long term will be poetry and dramatization. So when that comes into the mainstream, along with the print and others, so poetry comes into the limelight, actually. I mean, like they both said, I mean, we all do about at least about 10 to 15 new poets a year and another 25, 30 reprints. So, I mean, but in most of the Indian languages, it happens. It will happen at some point in English as well. Even a Vikram Seth poem may not sell the kind of numbers you're looking at. But probably he's one of the best sellers, actually, or Daruwala, or, I mean, there are quite a few, I mean, poets, actually. So, but this is going to come in as a different form of, different medium, different mode, actually, as a poetry publishing into audio. That's going to have that thing.
Any more questions? Or closing the session. Yeah, thank you. One note with Mr. Kannan and Mr. Ravi. I request you, let us take these things very seriously. Again, we'll make it a formal, informal discussion and make it a formal form. Yeah, that's what I can conclude the thing. Okay, Mr. Ravi. Thank you, Mr. Kannan.
A perfect close to today's vibrant sessions. Thank you for your commitment to preserving and progressing South Indian languages. And once more, heartfelt thanks to all our partners for standing by the word. Thank you so much.